So last time we discussed about dictionaries. Today we'll start with how to write functions in Python. Now functions is one of the most important parts. So whenever you're writing a code, you need to modularize that code so that it will be easier to debug and it will improve the readability. So the main reason we modularize the code, so it's considered that your code will be read by the most people than actual modification. So most of the times someone else will be referring the code to do some small modification. So that is the reason function helps us that you will just check pass the input. If you're getting the correct output, which means the entire 100 lines or 2000 lines which are written inside that functions are working fine. You can just skip that part. So that thing you can achieve using your functions. So how to write functions? So to write a function, we have a keyword def. Okay. So for functions, we have two things. One is your function definition, and second is your function call. Okay. So what is your function definition and what is the function call? So I'm writing a very basic function initially. So that function name I'm saying this is a print val function. Okay. So how to write a function call? So print val and opening and closing parentheses. So whenever you write a function call, you need to make sure that you are writing a function definition for this. So how to write a function definition? This is your def keyword. Then you need to specify the exact function name, that is print val, and the parenthesis. Again, this will be a block of code, so you need to put colon, and whatever you will write next to it, it should be one indentation inside. Okay. So here I'm just writing first. Yeah, okay. So how it works? Your execution will be top down. So initially Python will come to this particular line 7. So it is def. Okay. Now Python cannot execute any function unless and until there is a function. Okay. So whenever it encounters, okay, there is a function call, it will try to search for this particular function definition in the code above it. Reason it can search only code above it is Python is an interpreted language. So at this point of time, Python only knows the code which is written above it. So whatever is written in line number 11 is completely unknown for the Python. So that is the reason you have to specify your function definition before your function call actually. Okay. So if I execute this, so how it will work? It will start from the top. It will get, okay, this is a function call. Pass the control here. Okay. Execute all the statements which are written inside this function and start again from here. So I'm writing print okay. So it will pass the control here, execute all these lines. Okay, execute all these lines and come back here and continue the execution again. So first it will come here, go here, execute this print statement, come back and execute this. Okay. So far we have seen a lot of built-in function. So we have seen, let's say this is my string. So we have seen function that is something called s.index. So I'm passing some input for this. So I'm saying that check if this y is present or not. And this function returns me if y is present, it will return the index, right? So that is the output. So this is how generally your functions will be used. So you will pass some input to this function. So it will be completely separate. So it will perform some set of actions and it will return some results. Okay. Now we have various different ways to pass values from from function call to function definition. Okay. So let's start one by one. So first is something positional arguments? Any idea?
Like the shell scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you pass out calling the script,
Mm-hmm.
for the differential positional arguments.
Exactly. So whatever you will pass, so it will map it directly. So let's say I'm saying print val. Okay. I'm passing two numbers here. Let's say 10 and 20. So now if I'm passing two numbers, so this is my function call. My function definition should also accept these two numbers. Okay. So here it's not necessary that you have to use same name. You can use anything. So I'm accepting as num1 and num2. It's the same as declaring num1 is equals to 10 and num2 equal to 20. So here I'm just giving a call to function and passing these two values. Now these two values will be available across this function. So I can use this function. So let's say I want this function to calculate, to do the addition of these two things and return the result. Okay. So I'm saying, let's say add is equals to num1 plus num2. Okay. So I perform some operation. Now this is my output and I want to pass this output to the function call. Okay. So for that we need to write the return statement. Okay. So now what I need to return? So here I'm saying return this value of this add function, add variable. Okay. So if you're returning something, so same way we accepted these two variables here, I need to accept the input. I need to accept the output also. Okay. So I'm taking it as result is equals to print var. So now if I print the result, it will give me this 30. Okay. So how it works? This is my function call. Okay. Pass these two values to the function. All right. This is the input. Execute these statements. Calculate the output. Now, whenever there is a return statement, it will directly come back here now. And whatever answer will be stored in this particular variable. Now always keep in mind, if you have a return statement and if you try to write anything after this, okay, statement after, now this is the unreachable part of your code. Okay, so when it encounters the return statement, it will directly jump to the caller. Okay, and it will not execute this particular line of code. Okay, anyone knows how many values I can return at max? Only one. Right. So this is the case with most of the programming language, be it your C, be it your Java, that I can return only one value, right? But in case of Python, I can return multiple values. Okay. So how it is possible? Okay. So here, let's say while returning, I want to return add, then I want to return num1 and I want to return num2 as well. What is the data type? Tuple. Okay. So how it works? You are passing two values. Now here you are returning three values, right? So what Python will do, it will pack all these things into one tuple and it will return one tuple, okay? So ever wondered why we can only return one value only? Okay. So if you go to the architecture level, we have something called activation record. Okay. So for at the place of activation record, so for a return value, there is only one slot. Okay, you can only store one value. Okay, so here also we are actually storing only one value. It's just Python, it's just storing the reference of a tuple, not the three values. Now this tuple will maintain the reference to all these three values. So that is the reason it is possible in terms of a Python that you can return multiple values as well. Okay. All right. So In case of a positional arguments, I need to specify all these arguments. So if my function definition takes two values, then I need to pass two values. Okay. If I do not pass this, if I pass only one value, it will throw me an error that print val missing one required positional argument num2. Okay. Similarly, if it takes two values and you are passing three values, it will throw an error. It takes only two positional arguments, but three are given. Okay, and it is the same reason that you cannot add multiple elements in your append method of your list. If you take an example of a list, so 10, 20, 30. So when I do L dot append, I can only add a single value. So if I say 50 and 60, it will throw me an error that append exactly takes one argument and two arguments. Why? In the backend where this append function is defined, the function definition accepts only one value, and it's a positional argument. So that is the reason if you pass two values, it will throw an error that append takes exactly one argument. Okay. Now let's say you want that your program should work even if I don't pass these values. Alright, so I'm commenting this. Okay. So I will pass only one value, but still it should return me the addition. Okay. If I want that, then we have something called default arguments. Okay. So what is the concept of default arguments? I can assign a value here. So here what I'm saying that if the second argument is not passed, consider the value equal to 0. Okay. So how it works, if you are not passing, it will defaultly consider that as 0, and still it will, so now if I print my num1 and num2, okay, I'll get 10, 0. Okay, so what if I pass two values now then? Exactly. So now it will not consider this default value. Okay. So the example of your default argument is your print function. So just try this, help of print. Okay. So there are a lot of values, a lot of argument present actually. So we generally only use this value which we want to print. Okay. But we have arguments like separators. It is defaultly set to space. End is defaultly set to slashing. That means after every line it will put slashing. If you are printing two variables, it will defaultly put space in between. Okay, because you are not explicitly specifying it. So that is the reason if I want to print two values, I can explicitly specify it. So I can say num1 equals to 10. Let's say num2 is equals to 100. And when I say print num1 comma num2, I can specify the third operator. Now separator should be comma. Okay, so now it will put comma in between. Otherwise, default value set is space. Okay, so this is the example of your default arguments. Okay. So can you tell me, so I want to write one function called fibo. If I say 1 to 10, okay, so if I say 10, so this should give me first 10 Fibonacci series number. If someone passed 12, this should give me 12 Fibonacci series number. So it should generate a list of all the Fibonacci series numbers. Okay. So this is my function call that I will pass one number and I should get a list of all the numbers. That should be the definition. So let's say depth of Fibo. This is, let's say, take it as count. Okay, yeah. So 0, 1 will define 2, then some 0. So empty list count is 0 while less than some equals to a plus 2 times back to something empty then inside the. Yeah, right. So one improvement in that also. So my Fibonacci series will start from 0, 1, right? I want into a list, so I'm defaultly initializing it to 0, 1, right? So you can take two separate variables, that is also fine. Better way, let's start with that only. So I'm taking my first number, first num equals to 0. Second num equals to 1, right? And I will take some next value for this. Okay, this is my list. Initially, I am adding default values. Let's say 0, 1. I need to count till 12. So I'm saying while count is less than a number, I need to define my count variable. So I need to make it less than or equal to. I can start it defaultly from 2, right? Count is 2. So I'm putting the minus 2. Right? Got it? Because already have two elements, right? Okay. Yeah. So I need to calculate something. Let's
It
say.
will already, when count is already set to 2, it will automatically like check it. No? It will start from 2 only.
Which one?
When count is already set to 2, we can keep the num as, because then it will go from 2 to
2 to 12. 2 to 10, right? Yeah. But I already have 2 plus 10 elements. Total 12, right?
Yes.
So I'm saying now next val is equals to first num plus my second num. When this is done, I need to swap my first num and a second num, right? So after this, my first num and my second num is equals to, so I can directly write swapping logic as in one line, right? First num equal to this, and this is equals to next one, right? This will be my output. So here I'm saying L dot append of next one, right? When this is done, can I use extend method here? Will it change any output? What is missing? The program